My girlfriend lost a game of truth or dare at a party. Her forfeit was to call the person she regretted most in her life. She asked, "If I get a divorce now, will you give me a home?" The man on the other end firmly replied, "Yes." As soon as he said that, the whole room fell into an awkward silence. Everyone thought I would fly into a rage and flip the table. But unexpectedly, I just calmly took off the ring on my ring finger and said nonchalantly, "We haven't registered our marriage yet. It's not too late. So let's break up. I'll make way for him." After saying that, without waiting for her to speak, I turned and left. On the way, I made a call to the distant Jingbei. "Mom, Dad, I agree to come home and get married." Guo Feiyu's voice was firm and calm. The two voices on the other end of the line immediately became overjoyed. "That's wonderful, Feiyu. You've finally come to your senses. You are the sole heir of the Guo group. If you hadn't insisted on going out to gain experience these past few years, you would have already been married and taken over the family business. Your father and I have already found a suitable match. We were just waiting for you to say the word." Hearing the cheerful tone of his parents and remembering his willfulness in refusing blind dates many times before, Guo Feiyu felt a pang of guilt. I lowered my eyes. My tone unconsciously softened a little. "It'll follow all of Mom and Dad's arrangements." Good, good, good. How about setting the wedding for January 19th? When are you coming back? Do you want to meet your marriage partner beforehand? I'll arrange for you two to meet soon, her name is. Mother Guo chattered on endlessly. Guo Feiyu listened with a bit of a headache. "I made this call just to end things here quickly so I can come home. As for when to get married, and to whom, I don't care at all. Nor do I have any interest. I just want to come home to the Guo family soon to share Mom and Dad's burden. The marriage alliance is just a matter of convenience. There's no need to meet. Mom and Dad can just arrange the wedding. I'll be back the day before the ceremony." As soon as the words left my mouth, the bedroom door was pushed open from the outside. Guo Feiyu subconsciously turned his head and saw Li Shuding walking in with a frown. "Wedding? What wedding?" Guo Feiyu casually hung up the phone. Without a change in his expression, he came up with an excuse. "A friend is getting married. He asked me to be a groomsman." Li Shuding's expression softened. She nodded slightly. "If they're friends, then you should go. I've been a bit busy lately, so I probably can't go with you." "That's fine, I can go back by myself." Seeing me agree so readily, Li Shuding didn't ask any more questions. She casually took off her coat and placed it on the sofa, then turned and went into the bathroom. A moment later, the sound of running water could be heard. The phone in the coat pocket also buzzed a few times. Guo Feiyu hesitated for a moment, then took out her phone and turned it on. A message from someone saved as Luo Linyuan appeared on the screen. "Those words from that year, do you still remember them? Don't tell me you're really longing to marry me, are you?" Guo Feiyu's heart tightened. His hands paused for a moment, gently scrolled up. The message Li Shuding had sent 10 minutes earlier caught his eye. "Luo Linyuan, in 33 days, it will be your 28th birthday. Do you still remember what you promised me?" Guo Feiyu put the phone back where it was. He leaned back and sat on the sofa. Many memories flooded his mind. "I am the only son of the Guo group in Jingbei. My parents were busy with work all year round. I always lived abroad with my aunt. I rarely made public appearances. At the age of 18, my aunt returned to the country to get married. I followed her back and enrolled at Yundai University. To enjoy college life, and also for safety reasons, I never told anyone about my identity. At the senior year's freshman welcoming party, I, to help my roommate, temporarily went on stage to play the piano. After the piece ended, I carried my instrument off the stage. As soon as I looked down, I saw Li Shuding. She was wearing a white chiffon dress, holding flowers and waiting at the door. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at me, smiling and asking if she could have my contact information. Guo Feiyu was a sucker for beauty. He agreed on the spot. After that, the two contacted each other every day. They would also run into each other from time to time. After knowing each other for 3 months, Li Shuding confessed her feelings first. First love, love at first sight. Guo Feiyu had no reason to refuse, and so, the two of them got together. From age 21 to 28, for 7 years, Li Shuding was always obedient to me. As I got older, my family started urging me to come home for the arranged marriage. After I refused many times, I also tried to gauge her thoughts. But every time marriage was mentioned, Li Shuding would avoid it like the plague, cutting the conversation short. She would absolutely not bring it up. At first, Guo Feiyu thought that she didn't want to get married too early, but after so many times, I also felt that something was not right. Until one gathering, after drinking and chatting, I accidentally overheard the truth. It turned out I was never the one in Li Shuding's heart. The person she had always liked was her childhood friend, Luo Linyuan. It's a pity that the falling flower has feelings, but the flowing water is heartless. Luo Linyuan only saw her as a friend, and she took the initiative to approach me, only because on the night we first met, Luo Linyuan was with someone else, and the way I looked playing the piano on stage bore some resemblance to the person in her heart. To console her own disappointment and also to spite Luo Linyuan, she chose me. In the years that followed, Luo Linyuan had dozens of relationships without a break. Every time she heard news of his breakup, Li Shuding intended to go find him. But before she could say anything, Luo Linyuan would have a new target. Her sadness would deepen a little more. When faced with an oblivious Guo Feiyu who was completely devoted to her, she could only dismiss the thought of breaking up. Going around in circles like this, 7 years passed, they still hadn't broken up, and Li Shooting had never given up waiting for Luo Linyuan to change his mind. But Li Shooting was still waiting for a drunken joke Luo Linyuan made when they were young. Shutting, wait until I'm 28. If we're both not married, then let's try making do with each other. So every year she would ask him once, and this year, she finally waited until the year Luo Linyuan turned 28. Looking at the chat history on her phone again, Guo Feiyu smiled. In 33 days, it will be Luo Linyuan's 28th birthday. It's also the day Guo Feiyu has chosen to break up and go home to get married. I silently watched the flickering neon lights outside the window and gently rubbed my wrist. The sound of a door opening came from behind. Li Shutting, drying her hair, came and sat down next to me. I lowered my hand. My tone was casual as I said, "Your phone buzzed a few times just now." Hearing that, Li Shutting quickly wiped the water from her hands and took the phone out of her pocket. She looked at it for a long time. Guo Feiyu tilted his head and looked at her focused and serious expression. He couldn't help but ask, "You're staring so intently? Whose message is it?" My voice was very relaxed, but Li Shutting wasn't as casual as usual. She sat up straight. "It's about company matters. I need to handle something. You go to sleep first." Looking at her guarded attitude and her lying expression, a self-mocking glint flashed in Guo Feiyu's eyes. I hummed in agreement. Seeing her go into the study, I also got up and turned off the lights. I lay back down on the bed. I don't know how long it had been when a very light footstep was heard in the dark room. The dimly lit phone was placed on the bedside table. A hand gently wrapped around Guo Feiyu's waist. Then, there was a long silence again. Until the sound of soft, even breathing came from beside me, Guo Feiyu opened his eyes. He reached out and took her phone. He opened the same chat interface again. Only 4 characters were added. "You'll never forget my longing." A very simple sentence. But Guo Feiyu could imagine how Li Shooting looked when she typed those words. She must have been biting her lips slightly, her eyes fixed on the screen. Seriously typing out a long line of text, only to delete it again. Carefully weighing every single word. Afraid that her feelings would be too easily discovered, but also afraid that her feelings would not be discovered. Such a meticulous and cautious attitude only appeared when she was facing Luo Linyuan. Thinking it over, a bitter smile formed on Guo Feiyu's lips. He looked at those words one more time, then I opened Li Shooting's social media feed. The background picture was pitch black, but if you clicked to look closely, you would find a sentence at the very bottom. "You'll never forget my longing, it will surely be answered." When we first got together, Guo Feiyu had discovered this little detail. He had asked her what it meant. At that time, she made a casual excuse to brush me off, saying it was just a random picture she found online, that she didn't pay attention to these things. Looking at it now, it wasn't that she didn't pay attention at all. You could say she was painstakingly deliberate. With such painstaking effort, she single-mindedly remembered the 28-year-old promise, single-mindedly waiting for Luo Linyuan to agree to marry her. Her original wish never changed, vows of eternal love. Guo Feiyu kept his eyes closed all night but couldn't sleep. After daybreak, there was a rustling sound beside me. I took the opportunity to open my eyes. "Get off work early today." Li Shutting buttoned her shirt, looking over with a puzzled expression. "Is something wrong?" After a long silence, Guo Feiyu slowly spoke. "Today is your birthday. Did you forget?" Li Shutting's body stiffened slightly. Only then did she nod. For over half a month, Li Shutting's mind had been completely occupied by the 28-year-old promise with Luo Linyuan. She paid no attention to anything else. Now she had even forgotten her own birthday. Remembering the past 2 months of painstakingly preparing a surprise for nothing, Guo Feiyu's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Li Shutting didn't notice the change in my expression. She instructed, "Just keep it simple. It doesn't need to be as grand as before." In previous years, for her birthday, Guo Feiyu had handled everything. I always poured my heart and soul into planning her birthday party, just to see her smile. But she never cared about my sacrifices. So when he heard her say this, Guo Feiyu's tone carried a hint of self-mockery. "The party's already prepared. Everyone has already agreed to come. It can't be cancelled now." Preparations for this birthday party began 3 months ago. At that time, I didn't know she had someone else in her heart. I still thought I was her one and only. If I had known sooner, I absolutely would not have planned it. Hearing my explanation, Li Shutting thought for a moment and said nothing more. She took her phone and left the bedroom. Before turning away, Guo Feiyu caught a glimpse of her slightly furrowed brows. I lowered my head and muttered, not knowing if I was explaining to her or comforting myself. "Not anymore. I won't prepare a birthday for you anymore." After arriving at the company, Guo Feiyu first went to the management office to resign. When I came out, the office was in an uproar. "Feiyu, you're leaving? Why so suddenly? Have you found a new job yet?" "So decisive. Don't tell me you're going home to inherit a billion-dollar fortune, are you?" Hearing everyone's concern, Guo Feiyu put down the things in his hands. He smiled gently. "I'm going home to get married." The colleagues nodded in understanding. However, the one who was always close to me, Yuan Yuan, came over and asked a few questions. Feiyu, has your girlfriend finally agreed to marry you? Before, whether I hinted openly or subtly, didn't she always avoid the topic? Why the sudden change of heart? Guo Feiyu couldn't be bothered to explain further. He smoothly changed the subject. Thank you all for taking care of me these past few years. I'll treat everyone to dinner tonight. After work, he had dinner with 4 or 5 colleagues for 2 hours. When Guo Feiyu arrived at the hotel, it was already 8 o'clock. I hurried to the door of the private room. I was about to push the door open when the conversation from inside made me stop. It's so cold outside. Who did Shutting go to pick up? Who else could it be? Luo Linyuan, of course. I was standing nearby just now and heard everything. Luo Linyuan said he was coming back today, so she eagerly went to pick him up. Is that for real? Then wouldn't Shutting be overjoyed? Today is her 28th birthday. In a little over a month, Luo Linyuan will also be 28. For him to come back at this time, surely he didn't really come to fulfill that promise. I heard Luo Linyuan broke up again. It seems very likely then. Oh my god, he's really back. But if they really get together, what about Guo Feiyu? We've hidden it from him for so long. It's been 7 years and he still doesn't know who Luo Linyuan is. He's still wholeheartedly in love with Shooting. Well, what can be done? It's Shutting's fault for being so fixated on Luo Linyuan. If Luo Linyuan agrees to fulfill the promise, Guo Feiyu will definitely be dumped. We can only blame him for being unlucky. Luckily, he doesn't have any background. If they really break up, it'll be easy to handle, although Guo Feiyu has been. These past few years, nothing but good to us and Shutting. But we're Shutting's best friends? We definitely have to be on Shutting's side. When they really break up, let's not make it difficult for Shutting. On her behalf, we can give him a car, a house, or something. Consider it a breakup fee. Guo Feiyu listened quietly for a while. He didn't make any move, perhaps because he was already prepared to leave. I wasn't as sad as I was half a month ago. Instead, I found it a little amusing. Li Shutting wants to break up with me and needs her best friends to handle it. What on earth have I been in love with for the past 7 years? It's just a pity that I won't let them have their way and see my pathetic state after being dumped, because this time, I'm the one leaving first. Just then, as Guo Feiyu stood outside the door, a few waiters pushed a liquor cart past. I quickly stepped back a few paces. The moment the room door opened, the chatter inside suddenly stopped. I acted as if nothing had happened and walked in with a smile, greeting everyone. After a bit of small talk, Li Shutting led a strange man in, pushing the door open once more, looking at the man who resembled me by 30 or 40%. Guo Feiyu observed him silently. Li Shutting led the man around the private room and finally came to stand before me to introduce the two of them. Hearing Li Shutting's introduction, Luo Linyuan generously extended his hand. Guo Feiyu looked at his friendly gesture and also extended his hand. The moment their hands clasped, Li Shutting hesitated for a moment before continuing. This is my ordinary friend, Guo Feiyu. When she said this, she was prepared for Guo Feiyu to get angry, but events unfolded contrary to her expectations. Guo Feiyu had no reaction at all. He just looked up and gave her a deep look. Then he withdrew his hand. I took 2 steps back, keeping a distance from the two of them. A faint smile played on the corner of his mouth. Extremely polite. Hello, Mr. Jiang. You are her ordinary friend. After the introductions were over, the private room became lively again. Luo Linyuan had an extroverted personality and got along with everyone. He went from one end of the room to the other, toasting with his glass. Since it was Li Shooting's birthday, quite a few people had brought their girlfriends, but he showed no restraint, gathering a group of people to drink and play games, leaving the girls aside. When the game got exciting, his hands were full with cards and it was inconvenient, so he needed someone to feed him some watermelon slices. Without a second thought, Li Shutting speared a piece with her own fork and fed it to him. Luo Linyuan didn't think much of it either. He leaned over and ate a few bites, then took her glass and drank half a glass of wine. A dark red lipstick stain was on the tall, clear glass. It was very eye-catching. He pressed his lips right onto it. Guo Feiyu sat a few meters away, watching Li Shutting hold that glass without letting go, drinking one glass after another, and every time she drank, it was from the exact spot Luo Linyuan's mouth had touched. By the end of her drinking, she was a little drunk, but the classic birthday routine didn't. People sang the birthday song and told her to stand up, blow out the candles, and make a wish. The noisy private room immediately fell silent. Guo Feiyu stood up and pushed the cake over himself. He put the candles on it, looking at the number 28 on the candles. Li Shutting rubbed her temples, as if trying to shake off her drunkenness. Her somewhat unfocused eyes scanned the private room, then she raised a finger. This year, for my birthday, I don't want to make a wish anymore. Let's change it to a question. As she spoke, her raised finger curled down and pointed towards Luo Linyuan. Her gaze was unclear, yet incredibly intense, landing directly on him. Linyuan, you're also turning 28 soon? I want to ask you a question. Do you have a girlfriend right now? The moment these words were spoken, everyone around them looked at each other, faced with scrutinizing gazes from all sides. Luo Linyuan was slightly stunned. He answered, not right now. After a brief moment of silence, someone let out a surprised wow, and the room instantly erupted. Her drunk best friends all stood up, pushing a tipsy Li Shutting around, singing and dancing, watching the chaotic scene before him. Guo Feiyu sat upright and motionless, calmly and indifferently playing the role of a deceived man, the role of an oblivious, ordinary friend. The noise continued until midnight. This birthday party finally came to an end. After everyone had left, Guo Feiyu helped Li shooting into the car. She was immersed in her earlier joy, and fell onto my shoulder, speaking many heartfelt words. Lin Yuan, don't go. Can you stay with me? Why can they have you, but I can't? Lin Yuan, do you know how much I like you? I've waited for you for so many years, so many years. I wait for you every day. Lin Yuan, the female driver in the front seat, listened the whole way and snickered the whole way. Just before getting out of the car, she looked at Guo Feiyu helping the drunk woman and didn't forget to tease him a bit. Lin Yuan, your girlfriend really loves you. Guo Feiyu smiled at the driver, his tone casual. She loves Lin Yuan very much, but I'm not Lin Yuan. After a night of being drunk, she woke up. Li Shutting remembered what happened last night. She grabbed Guo Feiyu and started to explain. Feiyu, yesterday I was forced to drink a lot as soon as I got to the club. I might have said a lot of nonsense. Those were all just drunk words. Don't take them to heart. Guo Feiyu didn't expect her to remember last night. Nor did he expect her to come up with such a clumsy excuse. But I remained calm and rational, playing along with her act. I nodded slightly. It's okay, I know. For some reason, looking at my calm and unruffled face, and recalling my reaction when she introduced me and Luo Linyuan to each other yesterday, Li Shutting suddenly felt a little flustered. Thinking it over and over, she always felt something was not right. She hurriedly changed the subject. Yesterday I was busy drinking with everyone, and I forgot about you, Feiyu. Are you angry? Not angry. I have something to do this afternoon. I can't go. Seeing me refuse so directly, Li Shutting became even more insistent on making it up to me. Guo Feiyu couldn't refuse, so he had to agree. In the evening, just as I finished changing to go out, a message from Yuan Yuan arrived. Feiyu, you quit your job without telling your girlfriend? She just came looking for you. She seems really angry right now. Before I even finished reading the message, a call from Li Shooting came in. Looking at the flashing screen, a serious glint flashed in Guo Feiyu's eyes. After hesitating for a moment, I still answered the call. Li Shooting's angry voice came through the phone. Your colleague told me you quit your job and said you were going to get married. Guo Feiyu was thinking of an excuse to explain, when Li Shutting continued her reprimand in a low voice. I've already told you, I have no intention of getting married right now. It turns out she thought I was pressuring her into marriage. No wonder she was so angry. Guo Feiyu now understood and patiently explained. I was just joking with my colleagues. They must have taken it seriously. I quit because I've been a bit tired lately. I wanted to rest for a bit. Hearing these words, the voice on the other end finally returned to normal. Don't joke like that anymore, I replied softly. Then I heard Li Shutting ask where I was and if she should come over. Guo Feiyu was about to give his address when he suddenly heard a very faint laugh, which sounded a lot like Luo Linyuan. The two of them had added each other's contact information last night. Just now I even saw Luo Linyuan's social media post. It was a selfie in a car. Turns out he was with Li Shooting. The words lingered in his mouth for a moment, then turned into no need. The phone was quickly hung up. Looking at the screen that was slowly going dark, a self-deprecating smile appeared on Guo Feiyu's lips. If she really wanted to come find me, why would she hang up so quickly? She was just asking out of courtesy. Why did I even think it was real? I sighed to myself as I hailed a cab and went to the appointed restaurant. After the waiter heard my name, he led me straight to the rooftop restaurant. As I pushed open the door to the private room, I saw a table full of dishes, but there was no one in sight. Seeing my questioning gaze, the waiter respectfully explained, Miss Lin called to order 10 minutes ago. She said to invite you to eat first. She had something urgent come up, so she might be a little late. Recalling the phone call from just now, a look of understanding appeared on Guo Feiyu's face. The urgent matter must be going out with Luo Linyuan again. It's not exactly a lie, actually. After all, for her, as long as she's with the person she loves, even a trivial matter as small as a sesame seed is considered a good thing. After thinking it through, I didn't dwell on it too much and went straight into the private room. The waiter attentively set out the tableware for me, introducing each dish one by one. Looking at the table full of seafood, Guo Feiyu narrowed his eyes slightly. During my years in Europe, I wasn't used to Western food, so I often ate seafood, to the point that it's a bit sickening. After returning to the country for a few years, I'm still not used to it. If I were dining with her in the past and saw these dishes, I would mostly go along with her. But now, I don't want to wrong myself anymore. I waved my hand and told the waiter to clear it away. The waiter hesitated for a moment, then still spoke the truth. Mr. Guo, Miss Li has already paid for this table. It's very expensive. Are you sure you don't want it? If we clear it all away, our restaurant won't give a refund. Guo Feiyu raised an eyebrow. I took a card out of my pocket and handed it over. I know. Just clear it away. For the new dishes, just charge this card. Don't worry. I can afford it. Until the meal was over, Li Shutting still hadn't shown up. Guo Feiyu couldn't be bothered to wait anymore, so he paid and went home. Halfway there, a few text messages came in. Feiyu, can you stay somewhere else for a night? Lin Yuan suddenly came back to the country. His old house hasn't been cleaned up, so he can stay there. A lot of the lights are broken too. He's feeling a bit unwell, and he needs someone to take care of him. I want to let him stay here for a night. Is that okay? On one hand, she wanted to take care of Luo Linyuan. On the other, she was afraid I'd discover their relationship. How interesting. This time, Guo Feiyu was in no mood to play along with her act. I asked directly, "Isn't he your friend? Why do you have to hide our relationship? How long do you plan to hide it?" A long time after the message was sent, I finally received a reply. Li Shutting didn't offer any explanation. She just replied with a date, January 18th. If it were before, Guo Feiyu of course wouldn't have known why she chose this day. But now I understand clearly. The 18th is Luo Linyuan's birthday. If Luo Linyuan kept his promise and got together with her that day, she probably would have broken up with me without hesitation. If Luo Linyuan didn't agree to be with her that day, she would wholeheartedly propose to Guo Feiyu. She planned to test the waters to find out his true feelings. If she was rejected, she still had Guo Feiyu, this official boyfriend, to fall back on. She could just say it was a joke. Whether she advanced or retreated, she had a perfect solution. Guo Feiyu had to admire her a little. Too bad I no longer wanted to be the spare tire in her love life. I didn't reply to her anymore and turned off my phone. I gave the address of a hotel and had a little wine before bed. Guo Feiyu slept until the afternoon before waking up. I wanted to check the time, and as soon as I turned on my phone, dozens of new messages appeared. Most were from Li Shutting, and a small portion were from her best friends. "Feiyu, where are you? Why aren't you answering your phone or replying to texts? Even if you're upset, don't scare people like that. Shutting was looking for you like crazy all last night." Looking at these accusatory messages, Guo Feiyu laughed coldly. Turning off my phone to sleep is considered scaring people? Then when I break up with her, disappear, and go home to get married, will they scold me for throwing a tantrum again? Besides, who among them doesn't know that Luo Linyuan is the one in Li Shutting's heart? She would disregard her own life and death for him. While Guo Feiyu was pondering, a call from Li Shutting came in. Her tone wasn't very good. "Feiyu, Linyuan just stayed for one night. Do you need to be this angry? Even if I were unhappy, I shouldn't vent my anger this way." Guo Feiyu couldn't be bothered to explain, so he just made up an excuse. "I'm not unhappy. My phone just ran out of battery and turned off." If it were before, Li Shutting would have mostly believed it. But today, for some reason, she questioned it suspiciously. Then why is it that before, no matter when, you were always reachable, but last night of all nights, your phone was off? Hearing the question, Guo Feiyu was stunned and recalled many old memories. One late night several years ago, Li Shutting suddenly had a stomachache and she meant to call her secretary, but called me by mistake. After hearing that, I immediately got up and brought her medicine. Last year, I was on a business trip abroad with a time difference. Li Shutting didn't remember the time and called me at 3 or 4 in the morning to ask about a document. I fought off sleep and turned on the surveillance camera to help her find it. 3 months ago, I had surgery for appendicitis. Right after I came out of the operating room, while the anesthetic was still in effect, she sent a text message, and I still asked a nurse to help me reply. Every single thing was proof that I loved her. Unfortunately, no matter how much I gave, she never saw it. Thinking of this, Guo Feiyu's voice carried a hint of self-mockery. "I was just afraid that when you needed me, I wouldn't be there. I guess you didn't need me yesterday." Hearing this insinuating tone, Li Shutting's heart skipped a beat. In their 7 years together, I always went along with her wishes and was very obedient. The two of them had never argued or gotten angry with each other. Many things she didn't want to explain, I never pressed her for an answer. Even when she sometimes threw a tantrum, I just needed to coax her a little, and she would be happy again. Usually from daily life to gatherings and dates, I took meticulous care of her. Searching her heart, Li Shutting couldn't help but admit Guo Feiyu was an almost perfect boyfriend. Remembering the good things about me from before, her voice softened a few degrees. "I know. Just now, I was too worried about you. That's why I spoke so harshly. I'm sorry, Feiyu. Where are you now? I'll come find you." Guo Feiyu didn't want to see her and just said it wasn't necessary, then took a taxi home. As soon as I got home, the maid told me that Li Shutting had just gone out. Without having to guess, I knew that she was most likely called away by Luo Linyuan. Smelling the lingering scent of men's cologne in the air, Guo Feiyu didn't ask where she went. He just gently told the maid to open the windows for some fresh air. For the next half-month, Guo Feiyu didn't see Li Shutting again. She seemed to have forgotten about this boyfriend, not making a single phone call, not replying to a single text. Through Luo Linyuan's circle of friends, Guo Feiyu knew her whereabouts clearly. But I didn't want to question her, nor did I want to dig deeper. For me, every day in Shanghai now was just a countdown. I was in no mood to waste my thoughts on someone I was destined to say goodbye to. On New Year's Eve, the sky was full of falling snow. Guo Feiyu was in a pretty good mood. I wrapped myself in a blanket and watched movies all night by the floor-to-ceiling window. At dawn, the sound of fireworks outside the window filled the sky. Guo Feiyu was a little tired, so he lay back on the rocking chair and scrolled through his social media feed. The area in front of the door, which had been quiet all night, suddenly filled with the sound of footsteps. I pushed myself up from the chair, only to see Li Shutting returning completely drunk. She staggered in, threw a pile of bags onto the sofa, and then opened them one by one in front of me. These are 2 scarves I just bought. It's snowing so heavily outside. Feiyu, are you cold? Feiyu, this is the Rolex I bought a few days ago as a New Year's gift for you. Do you like it? She said as she put the gifts on me. Guo Feiyu felt hot, so he took off the scarf and tossed it aside. She pulled my hand and apologized again. I'm sorry. I've been too busy these past few days. I didn't have time to come see you. Are you angry again? And about last time, I shouldn't have stood you up. Feiyu, can you forgive me? Well, live happily together from now on. Saying that, Li Shutting moved closer, wanting to kiss me. Guo Feiyu couldn't stand the smell of alcohol on her, nor did he know what crazy fit she was having now. It took a lot of talking to coax her into the bedroom. After she fell asleep, I cleaned up the scattered bags in the living room, then picked up my phone. On social media, posts showing off relationships appeared one after another. The one that caught Guo Feiyu's attention the most was still Luo Linyuan's. He posted 9 photos. All of them were pictures with a girl in the snow. The caption was very interesting. Met someone new, the right one, on the first day of snow. The person I like. Seeing this line, the doubt in Guo Feiyu's heart was immediately cleared up. No wonder Li Shutting suddenly came back completely drunk and even took the initiative to make up. Turns out the person she likes has a new lover. It makes sense. If that weren't the case, why would she remember this old flame? A trace of irony flashed in Guo Feiyu's eyes. I raised my hand, took off the watch on my wrist, and threw it on the table. For the next few days, Li Shutting was like a different person. She didn't go anywhere, just stayed at home with me. I casually mentioned wanting to eat a dessert from a restaurant dozens of kilometers away, and she immediately went out in the snow to buy it. I had indigestion, and she obediently stayed by my side to cook porridge. I lingered on a travel ad for a few extra seconds, and she immediately started planning a trip with me after the new year. Perhaps because she was hurt, this time she cared for me more than before. But Guo Feiyu would not be moved anymore. I silently watched her play the role of a qualified girlfriend, busying herself over a few of my words, without a trace of guilt in my heart. During this final period, all her efforts could be considered repayment for the past. Thinking this way, Guo Feiyu felt even less burdened. After the snow stopped, Mother Guo sent over several formal wear samples, asking me which one I liked. I held my phone and zoomed in on each picture, carefully examining the details of the clothes. Perhaps because I was too focused, Li Shutting quietly walked up beside me, without me even noticing. It wasn't until she snatched the phone away that I quickly turned my head. Seeing her face immediately darken, she asked, "Wedding attire? Why are you looking at wedding attire?" Guo Feiyu lied without batting an eye. "Didn't I tell you before? A friend of mine is getting married soon, and there was a problem with his wedding clothes, so he's choosing a new one, and he asked for my advice." Seeing that my expression was normal, Li Shutting's suspicion gradually faded. She returned the phone to me and asked a question casually. "Oh, I forgot. What day is the wedding? I'll go with you." Looking at her serious expression, a subtle expression appeared on Guo Feiyu's face. "January 19th. Do you really want to go?" Hearing this date, Li Shutting was slightly stunned. Guo Feiyu stared at her, patiently waiting for an answer. After a moment of silence, she forced a stiff smile to deal with me. "We'll see when the time comes, maybe." A few days later, Guo Feiyu began to prepare to leave. Ever since that question, Li Shutting had fallen back into a state of disappointment, with a heavy heart all day, as if she were in a dream. Using the wedding as an excuse, I didn't avoid her and packed my luggage right in front of her. After graduating, it's been 6 years since I moved into this riverside apartment, and Guo Feiyu's belongings filled the room. I only chose the things I couldn't bear to part with, a small portion of which went into the suitcase. I didn't take anything else. After all, returning to Jingbei is returning to my territory. I can just buy whatever I need. I'll just leave these things here. Occasionally, a sober Li Shutting would rummage through my suitcase. After seeing the things inside, she didn't ask much. Guo Feiyu was full of anticipation. Luo Linyuan gave Li Shutting a birthday party invitation, so I secretly threw away a lot of my personal belongings, and she didn't notice. The matching items she once treasured were still placed there. She had no suspicion at all that, this time, I would leave and not come back. After all, in her eyes, I loved her enough to sacrifice my life for her, so how could she possibly suspect that I really wanted to leave? With a resolute attitude, Guo Feiyu packed with a great sense of relief. January 18th. The weather was gloomy, as if it was about to rain. Li Shutting woke up very early and sat on the sofa. Her eyes were glued to her phone. Guo Feiyu woke up a little later, sitting at the dining table for breakfast. The housekeeper looked at the sky and asked, "Mr. Guo, it looks like it's going to rain. Do you want to leave for the airport earlier?" Hearing that, Li Shutting looked up and unconsciously asked, "The airport? Why are you going to the airport?" "I have to attend a wedding tomorrow. You said you think about it before. Have you decided now?" Guo Feiyu explained casually, quietly looking at Li Shutting. She was silent for a few seconds, and finally said, "It's too far. I'm not going. Just take me to the airport." Regarding this answer, Guo Feiyu was not surprised at all. I finished the last piece of toast, wiped my hands, and went back to the bedroom to get my bag. Li Shutting had just buckled her seatbelt when her phone suddenly chimed. She hurriedly opened it, and in the next second, in her usually cold eyes, an unconcealable joy appeared. She put her phone down, unbuckled her seatbelt, and opened the car door. After getting out of the car, she realized something, and hurriedly leaned in to explain to Guo Feiyu. Feiyu, something suddenly came up at the company. I have to go take care of it first. I'll call a driver to take you to the airport, okay? Having been together for so many years, from her evasive gaze, Guo Feiyu could easily tell she was lying. But I didn't expose her. I just nodded gently. While waiting for the driver, I opened my social media feed, and as expected, I scrolled to a photo from the birthday party shared by Luo Linyuan. The beautiful girl was no longer by his side. It seems they broke up again. This also meant that Luo Linyuan's promise from years ago that if he was still unmarried at 28, he would be with her. She had hope again. No wonder she was so happy. When the driver arrived, Li Shutting had changed into a white evening gown and got into the sports car next to us in high spirits. She rolled down the car window, waved at Guo Feiyu, and asked me when I would be back. Back? This time, I'm not coming back. Guo Feiyu smiled and didn't answer. He just waved. Luckily, Li Shutting didn't mind and sped off in her sports car. I sat in the passenger seat watching the sports car disappear from sight before gently telling the driver, "Let's go." A drizzle started to fall, wetting the car window, blurring the glass. Everything around me became hazy. Guo Feiyu didn't want to look anymore. I closed my eyes and said a silent goodbye in my heart. Farewell. Before boarding the plane, Guo Feiyu received a call from his father. "Feiyu, what time will you arrive? You'll have Xiao Liu pick you up." My heart was racing with eagerness, so I didn't refuse. I didn't sleep well last night. After getting on the plane, Guo Feiyu immediately felt a bit sleepy. The flight was over 2 hours long. I fell asleep. The plane landed in Jingbei. I put on a hat and sunglasses. As I walked out of the arrival gate, someone stopped me. "Mr. Guo Feiyu." Hearing the clear voice, Guo Feiyu, half asleep, nodded. "Uncle Guo asked me to come pick you up." Guo Feiyu squinted at her for a moment. I thought to myself, this must be the driver, Xiao Liu. Why is it a girl? As soon as I got in the car, I leaned against the window and fell asleep. When I woke up, I saw an unfamiliar villa outside the window. I was startled. My voice was full of suspicion. "Where is this? Isn't this your home?" Seeing my reaction, Xiao Liu smiled. "It's not today, but tomorrow, it will be your home." To be more precise, the bridal suite. Only then did Guo Feiyu realize that getting married tomorrow was real. I said, "Oh," and opened the car door to get out. I slowly walked into the house. Xiao Liu followed behind. While admiring the scenery in the yard, I asked her, "Do you know what my fiancé's name is?" Xiao Liu looked at me, stunned. She still answered me, "Ruyan." Full name? Guo Feiyu frowned. I don't remember any prestigious family in Jingbei with the surname Yun. Perhaps it's because I've been away for too long, so I no longer understand the situation in Jingbei. I comforted myself. Then I asked a few important questions. "So where is the wedding venue?" "Pingquan Villa." "What time is the wedding banquet tomorrow?" 11 a.m. She answered every question asked. Guo Feiyu was very satisfied with this driver's professional competence. "So, are you driving the wedding car tomorrow too?" There was a few seconds of silence behind me, then came Xiao Liu's slightly surprised voice. "Of course, it seems the wedding details have been arranged very thoughtfully." Looking at the gate right in front of me, Guo Feiyu turned to get his suitcase. "All right, you can go home now. Just come on time tomorrow to take me to pick up the bride." After I finished speaking, the person in front of me didn't reply. Nor did she seem to have any intention of leaving. Guo Feiyu found it strange. He was about to ask if she had anything else when Mother Guo's voice came from the balcony. "Feiyu, you're back. Hurry up and see your bridal suite." Guo Feiyu quickly looked up to greet his family members. He tried to pull his suitcase to go, but it wouldn't budge. Seeing my action, Mother Guo waved her hand. "Oh dear. Come on up together. You're getting married tomorrow. What's there to be shy about? Xiao Liu's name is Ruyan. The driver is my fiancé." This realization left Guo Feiyu stunned on the spot. I became fully awake. I took off my hat and sunglasses and looked up, just in time to meet those sparkling, smiling eyes. Seeing the astonishment in my eyes, Liu Ruyan understood the reason. She proactively extended her hand. I forgot to introduce myself. "Mr. Guo, I'm Liu Ruyan." Guo Feiyu gave an awkward, forced smile. He quickly extended his hand to shake hers. His tone was a bit guilty. "Sorry, I was still sleepy and made a mistake." "Guo Feiyu." Liu Ruyan smiled. She pushed the door open with one hand. She didn't mind at all. Her voice was gentle. "It's okay. We have plenty of time in the future. We can get to know each other slowly." Before entering the private room, Li Shutting lowered her head to adjust the hem of her dress, carefully smoothing out every wrinkle. Her phone vibrated several times. She took it out to look. It was a message from the driver, saying that Mr. Guo had boarded the plane. After hesitating for a long time, she still sent a message, telling him to let her know he arrived safely. Composing herself, Li Shutting took a deep breath. She pushed the door open. Inside, everything from the decorations to the cake was white. The guests were also all dressed in light-colored attire. At a glance, La Shutting had the illusion that she had walked into a wedding hall by mistake. Her eyes were locked on the figure in the center, the figure she had always dreamed of. Her heart unconsciously beat a few beats faster, then she quickly walked over. A few people away, she heard a few guys nearby seemingly teasing someone. Lin Yuan, you have to bring that person out for us to see today. Why hide them for so long? What's the rush? Later, when I make a wish, it will definitely blow your minds. A wish. Recalling what happened at her birthday party a month ago, a look of anticipation suddenly flashed in Li Shuting's eyes. The joke from when they were 16, could it be coming true today? For several hours, Li Shuting couldn't stop thinking about this. She was so nervous, she took several sips of wine. Until the cake was rolled out, her hands were trembling slightly. Her close friends gathered around her, their eyes filled with an indescribable joy. Shutting, your dream is about to come true. How are you feeling? Li Shutting lowered her head, smiling without a word. Lin Leiyu, who was also watching the excitement, suddenly remembered something. She put an arm around her shoulder. If that comes true, what about Guo Feiyu? At Luo Linyuan's birthday party, hearing Guo Feiyu's name, Li Shuting's smile suddenly vanished. A hint of guilt rose in her heart. Her close friends saw that her expression was off and hurriedly comforted her. It's okay. Break up with him right now. After all, he's just an ordinary guy, easy to deal with. That's right. If he comes to cause trouble, we'll help you deal with him. Shutting, don't worry. Urged on by her friends, La Shutting took out her phone and typed a few words, but her finger paused over the send button. Seeing her hesitate, her friends got a little impatient. They grabbed her hand and pressed it down. Very quickly, below the line, "Let me know when you arrive." A new message appeared. "Let's break up." The two messages were 3 hours apart. Calculating the time, Guo Feiyu's plane must have landed by now. He would probably see this message soon. Li Shuting was still thinking when they dragged her directly to the center position. Amidst the happy birthday song that filled the room and Li Shuting's anticipation, Luo Linyuan clasped his hands together and sincerely made a wish. I hope my 28-year-old self has the best of everything and that I can make a wish with Xiling next year. Li Shuting's smiling face from a second ago instantly turned pale, while the others in the room seemed to go crazy and start screaming. Who's Xiling? Lin Yuan, aren't you going to introduce her to everyone? Amidst the clamor, a blush appeared on Luo Linyuan's face. She's my new girlfriend. As soon as he finished speaking, the door to the private room was pushed open from the outside. A girl in a purple dress, with a beautiful appearance, slowly walked in. She smiled and greeted everyone. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Yuan's girlfriend, Xu Xiling. Amidst everyone's cheers, Luo Linyuan smilingly held his new girlfriend's hand, sharing small details of their love story with his friends. Li Shuting sat in the corner, with a lonely expression. She clinked glasses with her best friend, one after another. Drinking and drinking, the whole group got drunk. Lin Leiyu staggered, stood up, and walked in front of Luo Linyuan. To everyone's surprise, she spoke out indignantly for her best friend. Luo Linyuan, have you forgotten the promise from that year? With Shutting? Hearing this, Xu Xiling's face also showed a hint of curiosity. A promise? What promise? Luo Linyuan's expression immediately turned extremely ugly, but Lin Yuyu was drunk and didn't care. Seeing this, the other best friends quickly voiced their support. You promised Shutting that you would be with her when you turned 28. That's right, we all remember. Are you planning to be a heartbreaker? Xu Xiling's smiling face gradually turned cold. She tilted her head and gave Luo Linyuan a deep look. It was really just a drunken joke. How could you take it seriously? Besides, I said it was on the condition that I was single. But now I have a girlfriend. How can it still count? Luo Linyuan denied it flatly without a second thought. Every single word was like a hammer blow, stabbing into Li Shuting's heart. One hand clutched her chest in extreme pain. The other hand pushed against the sofa to stand up. In everyone's sight, she laughed like a madwoman. Right, it can't count. You have a girlfriend and I also have a boyfriend. A joke is just a joke. These few words made Xu Xiling smile again. She nodded. Taking Luo Linyuan's hand, she walked up to Li Shuting, revealing an expression as if nothing had happened. It seems it was really a misunderstanding. I heard a long time ago that Director Li has a boyfriend. Why didn't you bring him today? Li Shuting's mind went blank. She still forced a smile, facing her gaze. He went back to attend a wedding. He doesn't have time. Xu Xiling nodded in understanding. But a flash of displeasure crossed Luo Linyuan's eyes. His tone was full of disbelief. Boyfriend? Who is it? I've been back for so long. Why haven't I ever heard you mention him? Seeing this look on his face again, Li Shuting couldn't say another word. Lin Yue hurried forward to support her. Looking at Luo Linyuan with a hateful gaze, her tone carried a hint of sarcasm. Guo Feiyu is Shutting's boyfriend. He's that most handsome guy from her birthday party. Have you forgotten? It's him? Luo Linyuan recalled Guo Feiyu smiling that night and saying he was just a regular friend. He always felt something was off. He subconsciously asked again. But that day, they both said they were just regular friends. It's just couples having a little tiff. Luo Linyuan, you've been in so many relationships. You don't understand something like this? One sentence made Luo Linyuan angry. His face turned red, then white. He raised his head and glared at Lin Yueyu. He couldn't swallow this anger. It's precisely because I've seen a lot that I want to ask a few more questions. If you all say he's her boyfriend, how about I call him and ask? It's a good chance for me to get to know my new brother-in-law. The faces of Li Shooting and her best friends instantly darkened. At the same time, they remembered the recent breakup text. Just by looking at their expressions, Luo Linyuan was 100% certain. He directly took out his phone to find Guo Feiyu and made a voice call. The women, knowing they were about to be exposed, all wanted to rush up and snatch the phone, but Xu Xiling was very protective of her own. She directly pulled him behind her. Luo Linyuan, since he started, decided to see it through. He turned the volume all the way up, pointed it towards everyone, and turned on the speakerphone. The room immediately fell silent. Only the sound of the phone ringing remained. Li Shutting hid her hands in her sleeves, clenching them into fists. She prayed silently in her heart, praying that Guo Feiyu wouldn't pick up, praying that I hadn't seen that message yet. As the ringing dragged on for a full minute, Li Shutting felt like her heart was about to leap out of her chest. Seeing that the call was about to end automatically, just as everyone was feeling a bit disappointed, the call connected. Guo Feiyu's clear voice came through the speaker, sounding a little surprised. "Mr. Su, is something wrong?" Li Shooting's face quickly turned pale. In stark contrast to that was Luo Linyuan's unreadable smiling face. "Nothing. It's just my birthday today. I heard you're Shutting's boyfriend, so I wanted to invite you to come hang out." There were a few seconds of silence on the phone. Li Shutting was so tense she could barely breathe. "Sorry, I'm in Jingbei. I'm afraid I can't make it." Hearing that my tone was still quite normal, Li Shutting guessed I probably hadn't seen the message yet. She relaxed a little. But Guo Feiyu's words didn't stop there. He let out a meaningful "ah." His voice held a hint of a smile. "Oh right, I've broken up with Li Shooting. Mr. Su, don't get the wrong idea." "Broken up? When did that happen?" Luo Linyuan's voice was both surprised and gloating. "Just now, about 10 minutes ago, I received her breakup text. I haven't had a chance to reply yet. Mr. Su, please pass a message to her for me." "I agree." Everyone gathered around to watch the drama revealed, expressions of wanting to laugh but not daring to. It was even clearer on Luo Linyuan's face. He smiled, glancing coldly at these young ladies who deliberately caused trouble. His voice was light. "Okay, I'll pass on the message. Sorry to bother you. Mr. Guo, then I've troubled you. Happy 28th birthday to you. And I also wish for lovers to finally be together. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when Guo Feiyu sent his well wishes, he heavily emphasized the words 28 years old. He seemed to be showing everyone that he already knew the inside story, but at the scene no one dared to ask. They could only watch helplessly as the phone was hung up. After a round of commotion, the atmosphere in the room instantly dropped to a freezing point. It was silent for a good 5 or 6 minutes. In the end, it was Xu Xiling who stepped up to mediate. She toasted Li Shooting with a glass of wine and gently let the matter pass. After pouring the last drop of wine from the glass into her mouth, Li Shooting slammed the glass down and led her group of friends away from the birthday party. Before leaving the room, in a daze, she heard Xu Xiling ask Lin Yuan a few questions. "Is this Mr. Guo from Jingbei?" "I heard so. Why?" "Nothing. There's a Guo family in Jingbei. It sounds a bit familiar. I'm probably overthinking it." As soon as they were out the door, her best friends crowded around, pulling Li Shooting to open another private room and chattering away, comforting her. "That's right, Shooting. Just think about it. All the ex-girlfriends Luo Linyuan has gone through in the past 7 years. If you really married him, their wedding banquet alone would need a dozen tables for them. This kind of scumbag who falls for everyone he meets, who knows what would happen if you married him. Why don't you just stay with Feiyu? Yes, yes, yes. In what way is Feiyu not as good as Luo Linyuan? He was definitely just saying that today because he was angry. Shutting. You should go back and coax him. Explain a little more. He likes you so much, he will surely understand." Under the comfort of her best friends, Li Shooting's mood gradually calmed down. She took out her phone, looked for Guo Feiyu, and racked her brain to compose and send a message. "Feiyu, I just lost a game with everyone." The punishment was to say, "Break up to my boyfriend," then call to see the other person's reaction. Don't take it seriously, okay? How long have you been in Jingbei? Have you checked into the hotel yet? Or are you busy decorating the wedding hall? Are you coming back tomorrow or the day after? Can I come pick you up? The message was sent a long time ago, but it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no reply at all. Li Shutting stared at the screen, her heart in a constant state of panic. The group looked at each other and hurriedly ordered a case of wine, urging her to drink, wanting to distract her. "Oh my, weddings are definitely super busy. Shutting, don't overthink it. Feiyu will reply to you when he's free. Yueyu is right. If he's really angry, tomorrow, we best friends will go to Jingbei with you. Apologize in person." At this moment, Guo Feiyu was in the room with Liu Ruyan trying on wedding dresses. I opened Li Shooting's message. Seeing the first line, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So she could come up with an excuse like this. Her mind is quite sharp. Too bad I don't believe a single word of it anymore. Without thinking, I can also imagine how she looked after being rejected by Luo Linyuan, unable to lower herself to save the situation. Thinking back to that baffling phone call, the scene must have been even more spectacular. Guo Feiyu sighed softly. Liu Ruyan, who was adjusting the hem of her dress, heard him and looked up. What's wrong? Is this wedding dress not beautiful? Then I'll have them bring a new one. Guo Feiyu waved his hand. No need, it's just that I missed a good show because of the wedding. I'm just a little disappointed. A good show? What good show? Is it convenient to tell me about it? Although Guo Feiyu really wanted to share, but I felt that in front of my fiancé, it wasn't very appropriate to talk about an ex-girlfriend, so I changed the subject. Some friends back in Shanghai were celebrating a birthday. They caused some ridiculous situations. It's nothing major. Let's focus on the wedding first. Seeing that I didn't want to say much, Liu Ruyan didn't ask any further. She went to the living room and brought some sweets. You've been busy with me all afternoon. You must be hungry, right? Have a little something to eat first. After we're done, I'll go out to eat with you. She asked what I wanted to eat. Guo Feiyu was indeed a little hungry, so he asked her what she wanted to eat. Jotting down each item, he then went out to make arrangements. As Guo Feiyu ordered, he was lost in thought. According to the information I've gathered, Liu Ruyan is the third young miss of the Liu group in Jingbei. She's 2 years younger than me. She has a sister who is 2 years older, and also an eldest sister who is 5 years older than me. She is the vice president of the Liu group. Liu Ruyan was raised single-handedly by her eldest sister. Her character is graceful and proper, unlike her promiscuous second sister who changes boyfriends every day. In recent years, the Guo and Liu families have interacted frequently. After many investigations and inquiries by the Guo family, they even broached the subject of a marriage alliance. According to Mother Guo, Liu Ruyan only took one look at Guo Feiyu's photo and agreed. She seemed very satisfied with me. Regarding this statement, Guo Feiyu disagreed. I ended my previous relationship to come back and get married, to contribute to the Guo family. From beginning to end, I never took this marriage to heart. I just thought if we can live together, we will. If not, well, divorce. It's just a business marriage. Liu Ruyan and I both have no choice. So I don't think Liu Ruyan would fall in love at first sight, as my mother said. I just feel it's a groundless claim. But after an afternoon of interaction, although the two of us are not yet close, but Guo Feiyu, from a few details, still can see that this fiancé is very good. Her appearance is, of course, top-notch. Her temperament is also very gentle and kind. She is orderly in her work, thoughtful and meticulous, and also very knowledgeable about etiquette. In general, Guo Feiyu is very satisfied with this fiancé. It seems my parents have a good eye. After drinking all night, after waking up, Li Shutting subconsciously opened her phone to see if Guo Feiyu had replied to her message. More than 10 hours had passed, but the chat window was still empty. She rubbed her eyes hard a few times, and as if venting her anger, she threw her phone against the wall. The loud noise immediately woke everyone up. Everyone looked at her action, and their drunkenness instantly vanished. Lin Yu reacted the fastest and hurriedly called her secretary to book 6 of the earliest plane tickets to Jingbei. I didn't expect a guy in love to play this hard-to-get game. Don't worry, Shutting. We'll go with you to coax him back. The others also quickly gathered around to change the subject. Li Shutting's mood finally improved a little. As soon as they left the bar, the group went straight to the airport. On the way, Li Shutting stared blankly at the tall buildings in the distance, her heart filled with endless regret. If I had known I'd be celebrating for nothing, I would have rather agreed to go to Jingbei with Guo Feiyu yesterday. The more she thought about it, the lonelier she felt. She could only force herself to take comfort. It's good that I couldn't go. Hearing Luo Linyuan say those words myself, I should completely give up hope now. In the 10+ years of waiting for him, she had wanted to give up countless times, but because of the promise for their 28th year, she always held on to the illusion. Especially after being with Guo Feiyu, she was about to go crazy. I didn't know how to face this boyfriend who was completely devoted to me. Now is the time to make the final choice. She took off her coat, which was stained, yellow by the wine, and tossed it aside, tentatively asking her close friends, "If I can't coax Feiyu back today, I want to try proposing to him. What do you guys think?" Hearing the word marriage, her friends' eyes widened. "Marry Guo Feiyu? With his family background, your parents won't agree, will they? He's not bad, handsome, and has a good personality, but I think dating is fine. But if you really want to get married, he's still not quite good enough for you." Although they were all pouring cold water on her idea, Li Shutting didn't listen at all. She leaned against the back of the seat, her mind constantly replaying every little memory of being with Guo Feiyu. After her 25th birthday, every few months, he would hint at marriage, testing her intentions. She knew exactly what I was thinking, and knew my family was pressuring me, but because of her own selfish reasons, she still pretended not to understand. Now neither of us were young anymore, and I was completely devoted to her. She had also thought it through. She didn't want to lose him anymore. Even though the road to marriage ahead was full of hardships, she was willing to try. Thinking of this, Li Shutting finally made up her mind to propose in Jingbei. She sent a text message to her assistant, telling him to bid on the pair of diamond rings that had caused a stir online recently. Before boarding the plane, her assistant informed her that the pair of rings had been bought by someone else for the sky-high price of 900 million. Just a pair of wedding rings, and the bid was that high? Li Shooting was a little surprised and asked for the buyer's name. The assistant replied with one word, Liu. Liu. The Liu family of Jingbei? Remembering the name that was famous in their circle, Li Shooting clicked her tongue in amazement. She was somewhat acquainted with the second miss of the Liu family, so she called to inquire. Those wedding rings? I bought them. My younger sister is getting married today. I gave them to them as a wedding gift. Shutting, you asked too late. The third miss of the Liu family is also getting married today. Why are all the happy events happening on the same day? A flash of surprise appeared in Li Shooting's eyes, but she still politely expressed her thanks. It's because I was too drunk and forgot about the auction. You're too kind, second miss. Since the third miss is getting married, please convey my congratulations for me. I wonder which family's man is so lucky. Hearing her flattery, the cheerful laughter of second Miss Liu came from the phone. Not at all, not at all. My sister is marrying into the Guo family. It's a perfect match between families. They're very compatible. A match made in heaven. Guo. As soon as she heard this word, Li Shooting immediately thought of Guo Feiyu. Guo Feiyu also has the surname Guo. Could it be that he's attending the wedding of the Liu and Guo families? Does he have relatives or friends in the Guo group in Jingbei? Many strange thoughts arose in Li Shooting's mind. After getting out of the car, the cold winter wind blew, and they all vanished completely. She shook her head and rubbed her temples, pushing all these random thoughts out of her head. Guo Feiyu, a guy from an ordinary small county. How could he possibly be related to the Guo family? After the plane landed at the capital's airport, Li Shooting made a phone call to Guo Feiyu. Her tone wasn't very good. It seemed she was still angry. The noisy crowd in the background also revealed some frustration. Ex-girlfriend, what are you calling for? Hearing this form of address, Li Shooting remembered yesterday's events again, and her blood pressure shot up. But she knew this wasn't the time to lose her temper, so she had to suppress her anger and patiently explain, Feiyu, the breakup yesterday was really just a joke. Can you believe me? Before she could finish, Guo Feiyu interrupted her. Is that so? I don't care if it was a joke or not. I only believe what I see. You don't need to explain anymore. I'm very busy right now. I don't have time to chat. After saying that, I didn't care about Li Shooting's reaction and hung up directly. Li Shooting was so angry her face darkened. Lin Leiyu quickly pulled her into the car. Stop arguing over the phone. Wait until you see him and say a few soft words and you'll be able to coax him right away. Her close friends took turns persuading her. As the car drove out of the underground parking lot, the driver asked for the address. They were all stunned, staring at each other blankly. No one knew where the wedding venue was. Lin Leiyu wanted Li Shooting to call and ask again, but was afraid the two would argue, so she had to use her own phone to call. Feiyu, we've arrived in Jingbei. Where is the wedding venue? A few seconds later, a female voice came from the phone. Just come straight to Pingquan Villa. Hearing the strange voice, a look of displeasure flashed in Li Shooting's eyes. She snatched the phone, intending to ask who it was, but the call had already been disconnected. Seeing this, Lin Leiyu quickly found an excuse to comfort her. Don't you know what kind of person Feiyu is? Didn't he just say he was busy? He's the groomsman. Maybe he just handed his phone to a friend. Don't be jealous anymore. Hearing this, Li Shooting's expression softened a little. They quickly gave the name of the location. When the words Pingquan Villa were spoken, everyone realized something was wrong. They looked at each other. Isn't this place the famous wealthy district in Jingbei? The people who live there are all big shots who can shake up the entire circle with just a stomp of their foot. Guo Feiyu's friend. Is having their wedding reception here? Li Shooting's heart also began to worry. The thoughts she had before boarding the plane resurfaced. Could Guo Feiyu really be a distant relative of the Guo family? 10:30. The wedding was about to begin. The guests took their seats one by one. Guo Feiyu stood on the rooftop balcony, looking down at the Wanqing lawn decorated with all kinds of roses. A look of amazement flashed in my eyes. A few days ago, my mother said, this wedding was planned and arranged entirely by Liu Ruyan. Very thoughtful, but it wasn't until I saw it with my own eyes today that I knew my mother's words weren't false. She was even understating it. The Liu and Guo families were joining by marriage, so logically, the entire circle, all the influential families would attend the ceremony. But by careful calculation, there would be at most 700 or 800 tables. Why use such a large venue? Although it was sunny, it was winter after all, and it was a bit chilly outside. For the guests' experience, countless air conditioners were placed around, and fresh flowers flown in from Europe were used to decorate the floral arch. And the gifts for the guests at the reception desk were concentric locks made of pure gold, one for each guest. This extravagance made Guo Feiyu, who had grown up abroad since childhood, feel a bit pained. I smoothed my wind-tousled hair and was about to sigh with emotion when Liu Ruyan walked over, her voice full of concern. It's cold outside. Come in. Guo Feiyu nodded and followed her into the room. She brought over a hot cup of coffee. Just now, someone called and said they'd arrived in Jingbei asking where the wedding venue was. Is it your friend? Do we need to go to the gate to greet them? Which friend? Guo Feiyu, with a slightly surprised expression, quickly picked up his phone to check the call log. Seeing the three words Lin Leiyu, my expression became strange. Lin Leiyu's phone call, she's arrived in Jingbei. Liu Ruyan still didn't understand the situation and nodded gently. The corners of Guo Feiyu's mouth lifted into an unreadable smile. No need to greet them, they can get in by themselves. The venue is too crowded. I see a lot of cameras secretly filming from the nearby mountain. I think we should send people to increase security to prevent any incidents. Liu Ruyan didn't think much of it and nodded in agreement. Before leaving, she placed the wedding rings in my hand. After she left, Guo Feiyu finally dared to reveal the smile he had been suppressing for a long time. Li Shuding came all the way here to attend my wedding. Guo Feiyu imagined the look on her face when she saw him standing on the stage and found it incredibly interesting. I lifted the ring box and opened it. Seeing the pair of rings inside, I was slightly stunned. This pair of rings, I saw them in a magazine 2 months ago and even shared it with Li Shuding. At that time, I was still fantasizing about the scene of getting down on one knee to propose to her. Who would have thought, just half a month later, I would find out about her and Luo Linyuan. The long-awaited wedding and wedding rings, I have them all now. As for the bride, it's even better that it's someone else. It's better than unknowingly jumping into a pit of fire. Until today, Guo Feiyu didn't have the slightest lingering feeling for the past 7 years, only felt lucky. At 11 o'clock sharp, the wedding began on time. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Father Liu slowly walked his daughter in, bringing her to Guo Feiyu's side. After completing the preceding ceremonies in order, it was soon time for the ring exchange. Liu Ruyan picked up the wedding ring, about to put it on Guo Feiyu, when a sudden commotion broke out below the stage. Guo Feiyu looked over and immediately saw Li Shuding. She was like a mad woman, pushing aside those in her way, her bloodshot eyes staring fixedly at the stage, her whole face distorted beyond recognition. The close friends following her were shouting Guo Feiyu's name. This sudden turn of events drew the attention of all the guests. Facing the unfriendly gazes from all around, Guo Feiyu was very calm. I tilted my head to look at Liu Ruyan and saw her face full of anger and confusion, so I quickly explained, "I'm sorry, those are my friends from Shanghai. Can we pause the ceremony for a moment and give me a few minutes to go over and talk to them?" Liu Ruyan hesitated before nodding and signaled the staff to stop. The security had already restrained the troublemakers and were about to drag them out, but seeing Liu Ruyan's signal, they stopped. From beginning to end, Li Shuding's gaze was locked on Guo Feiyu. Seeing me in a groom's suit standing before her with a nonchalant expression, she could no longer suppress her anger and questioned through gritted teeth, "You said you were attending a friend's wedding. Is this friend of yours yourself?" Guo Feiyu looked at her furious appearance and felt a little like laughing. Generally speaking, phrase "I have a friend," aren't they all referring to myself? Li Shuding was so angered by my 2 sentences that she burst out laughing. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, her eyes were blazing with fury. "Is this why you secretly got married behind my back? What do you mean secretly? The marriage between the Guo and Liu families has been all over the internet for over a month. Li Shuding, don't you go online?" Guo. Liu. Li Shuding seemed to remember something and suddenly turned her head to look at the bride. Liu Ruyan's face was 50% similar to Liu Yunsheng's. She recognized her immediately. Her pupils suddenly dilated, the corners of her mouth trembled, and her whole body was filled with disbelief. Liu Ruyan's marriage partner is Guo Feiyu. Then who is Guo Feiyu? The people behind her, like Lin Yuedu, also realized the problem, exclaiming in shock, "Guo Feiyu, are you from the Guo family of Jingbei?" Guo Feiyu looked at them quietly and patiently introduced himself. "To be precise, I am the next generation heir of the Jingbei Guo group, the only son of Mr. Guo Shuming and Mrs. Ye Si, and the fiancé of Liu Ruyan. Do any of you have any further doubts about my identity?" This long string of titles silenced the 6 of them. In Shanghai, they could indeed call the shots, but this is Jingbei. Their families were nothing in front of the Guo and Liu families. After an unknown period of silence, Li Shuding asked in a hoarse voice, a question very important to her. "Why did you never say anything before? Didn't you also hide many things from me? For example, 28 years old." Those 2 sentences made Li Shuding's face turn pale. She tried to explain, "I can explain this. Feiyu, it's true I haven't forgotten Lin Yuan, but over the past 7 years Before she could finish, the person who had been standing aside observing the situation, Liu Ruyan, interrupted her. After Liu Ruyan gave orders to the security guards, she took Guo Feiyu's hand and gently said to me, "Now is not a convenient time to reminisce about the past. Feiyu, after the wedding ceremony is over, let's invite your friends for a private meal. Don't keep the guests waiting." Guo Feiyu knew, with her capabilities, she must have realized in these few short minutes that something was wrong. That's why she spoke up to stop it. When Li Shuding and her friends rushed in, I was already prepared for this wedding to be ruined. After all, the Liu family is a powerful figure in Jingbei, and for the groom to be caused a scene by his ex-girlfriend at his own wedding, they absolutely could not lose face like this. If things got a little louder, the wedding might even be called off on the spot. Watching the group being dragged away, Guo Feiyu didn't expect Liu Ruyan to make such a decisive choice at such a critical moment. I looked up and gave her a deep look. Although I nodded in agreement, I still had many questions in my heart, but now was not a good time to get answers. Liu Ruyan linked her arm with mine, and the two of them returned to the center of the stage. The melodious piano music started again. Amidst the resounding congratulations from all around, the couple completed the ring exchange ceremony. The moment the bouquet was tossed, countless petals, feathers, and ribbons fell from the sky. Guo Feiyu reached out and caught half of it, clenching it in his palm. The brilliant midday sun shone on me, illuminating my gentle, jade-like face. I turned around without looking back again and strode towards the future and tomorrow. After this grand wedding ended, Guo Feiyu was a little tired. Recalling the events of the day, Guo Feiyu felt he should have a frank talk with her. After careful consideration, I spoke up. About today's matter, is there anything you want to ask? Liu Ruyan's hand, which was unbuttoning her blouse, paused, and she looked at me thoughtfully. If you want to talk, I'll ask. If you don't want to talk, I won't ask. Her neutral attitude stunned Guo Feiyu. For the first time, I felt that the person I married was anything but ordinary. I couldn't help but size her up. Such a huge scene happened at the wedding, yet she didn't show the slightest bit of dissatisfaction and could still remain so calm, respecting my rights and freedom. This generosity and demeanor made Guo Feiyu feel a little admiration, and he couldn't help but ask two questions. Aren't you curious about the relationship between me and them? Aren't you worried about what troubles might lie behind today's events? Liu Ruyan smiled as she took off her jacket, sat down on the soft chair, her eyes filled with a casual air. I'm curious and also worried, but none of it matters. What matters is that the wedding is over, and you are my husband. We will walk through many tomorrows together. As for the past, if you're willing to talk, you'd be happy to listen. If you don't want to, I understand. Why dwell on things that cannot be salvaged? Her open-minded attitude made Guo Feiyu doubt that she was really 2 years younger than him. To be so insightful at 26, Guo Feiyu instantly felt the difference and once again refreshed his perception of Liu Ruyan. Perhaps influenced by her, I didn't want to hide it anymore and decided to be direct. The people at the wedding were my ex-girlfriend and her friends. We were in love for 7 years. I originally planned to marry her, but she liked someone else. After I found out, I broke up with her and returned to Jingbei. Just as my parents were urging me to get married, I agreed. I officially broke up with her yesterday. She didn't know I was from the Guo family, so she came to the wedding to cause a scene. After listening for a moment, a subtle expression appeared on Liu Ruyan's face. Broke up yesterday, married today. Isn't that a bit too rushed? It might be a bit rushed, but ours is just a business marriage. We just need to maintain a stable marital relationship in front of outsiders. When he said these words, Guo Feiyu had a very matter-of-fact expression. The smile on Liu Ruyan's lips deepened. Don't I care what kind of person my marriage partner is? Not really. I just want to inherit the Guo group as soon as possible. This dismissive attitude of mine should have been very offensive, but for some reason, Liu Ruyan's heart fluttered. She stared at me intently for a long time, then nodded gently. Then perhaps we'll get along very well in the future. In broad daylight, being dragged several hundred meters by security, Lai Shutting had never suffered such humiliation. Her clothes were torn, with strips of fabric hanging from her shoulders, and the skin on her back was scraped and bruised. Her whole body was covered in dirt and mud. Her other close friends weren't much better off. They were thrown out in front of the villa's gate, facing the expulsion by dozens of security guards. They were angry but didn't dare to speak out. And at the bottom of the steps were hundreds of reporters carrying cameras, upset that they couldn't get photos of the wedding. A few sharp-eyed people recognized Li Shooting and rushed forward shouting for an interview. Miss Li, were you also invited to attend the wedding? You don't look so good right now. Did something happen inside? With someone taking the lead, a crowd of reporters swarmed up to take photos and conduct interviews. Li Shooting's mood was already terrible, and now being photographed in such a pathetic state, she immediately flew into a rage. She pushed down the person blocking her way, knocking over several cameras, and then led her friends away. That night, the story of Lai Shooting assaulting reporters made the front page of the entertainment news. The reputation of the Lai group plummeted overnight. Smear campaigns appeared relentlessly, and the Lai family couldn't stop them even with money. When Luo Linyuan's call came, she had locked herself in her hotel room, drunk to the point of reeking of alcohol. Shutting, the news says the person marrying into the Liu family is Guo Feiyu. Is he from the Guo family? Yes. So what if he is? After receiving an affirmative answer, Luo Linyuan's voice carried a hint of excitement. Siling just said that the 4 families of Shu, Lin, Li, and Zhang have prepared a project proposal that has taken shape. I heard the final decision-making power for the project is in Jingbei. You and Guo Feiyu were in love for so many years. Is there any way to ask him for help? To put the project in our hands? Although Li Shooting's mind was in chaos, a shred of reason remained. She let out a cold laugh, her voice filled with despair. Ask him for help? He's already married Liu Ruyan. So what? Weren't you two together for 7 years? Even if you've broken up now, you should still have some consideration for your past relationship. You should give it a try. Uncle Lee just called me asking where you are. He sounded very fierce. If you can secure this project first, he'll calm down and won't hold today's events against you, right? Hearing this advice, Lee Shutting's heart wavered slightly, but she didn't dare to agree easily, only giving a vague answer. After hanging up the phone, she forced herself to get up and wash her face in the bathroom. Her mind cleared up a lot. A few minutes later, Lin Yuadu knocked and entered and discussed the project with her again. She leaned against the sofa, her contemplative gaze fixed out the window, her thoughts in a whirl. This project is a lucrative piece of cake. Powers in Jingbei, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau are all competing for it. The 4 major families of Shanghai have joined forces, precisely to secure a definite victory. According to intelligence, the person in charge of this project at the higher level is very likely Guo Xiao, Guo Feiyu's paternal aunt. If they can get in touch through her, then they can achieve more with less effort. After a moment of contemplation, Lee Shutting still decided to give it a try, for no other reason but for her own selfish desires. She still wanted to find a chance to meet Guo Feiyu again. On the second day after the wedding, after receiving the marriage certificate, Guo Feiyu went to the headquarters of the Guo Group to assume the position of vice president. To help me adapt quickly, Father Guo assigned secretaries and assistants he had personally promoted to me. I spent the whole day reading reports and documents, and finally got an overview of the group's internal situation. By the time I came to my senses, the sky was already dark. It was already 8 p.m. In the entire building only, my office light was still on. I rubbed my tired eyes, grabbed my bag, and went downstairs. As soon as I reached the parking garage, I saw Liu Ruyan waiting there. Why is she here? Guo Feiyu walked over and asked directly, "Aren't you busy today?" Liu Ruyan smiled faintly, her voice carrying a hint of helplessness. "Today is the second day of our marriage. I'm supposed to be on my wedding leave." Hearing these words and recalling her expression in the morning when leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, after I said I wanted to go to the company, Guo Feiyu finally understood the meaning of that subtle expression. I lowered my head, a bit embarrassed, and explained, "It's my first time getting married, so I have no experience. I forgot about these things. But wedding leave, honeymoon, and all that? Only ordinary couples would care about that, right? Ours is just a business marriage. There's no need to celebrate, is there?" A fleeting, hard-to-detect disappointment flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes, but she quickly adjusted her emotions, opened the car door, and made an inviting gesture. "If you're busy, it's okay not to celebrate. But since we're married after all, inviting President Guo to have dinner together, I'm sure you'll agree, right?" Her tone was a bit playful. Guo Feiyu couldn't help but laugh after hearing that. I nodded happily. "Get in the car." This dinner was booked at a very famous Western restaurant. It was right at dinner time, and the two of them arrived a bit late. All the private rooms were taken. Guo Feiyu was hungry too, and was too lazy to go anywhere else. After getting Liu Ruyan's agreement, they sat down at a table near the window in the main hall. After receiving the menu, Liu Ruyan passed it directly to me, then she introduced some of the restaurant's signature dishes. Following her suggestions, Guo Feiyu ordered 4 or 5 dishes that he liked, then handed the menu back to her. But Liu Ruyan didn't order any more dishes. In Guo Feiyu's memory, during the 2 previous times they had eaten together, their tastes didn't seem to be very similar. Seeing her refuse, I was a little worried she wouldn't like the food, so I kindly advised her, "Are you sure you don't want to order a few more dishes? My taste can be a bit strange. You might not be used to it." Liu Ruyan smiled and shook her head, looking at me with sparkling eyes. "We're a married couple now. From now on, we'll have to eat together every day. Of course I have to try more of the dishes you like and slowly get used to them. We got married. It's not like you sold yourself. You still have the right to choose dishes you like when we eat. You still have that right, don't you? You don't need to think so much about it. Just say what's on your mind. We can discuss it." Hearing me say that, Liu Ruyan was slightly taken aback. She lowered her eyes, her voice carrying a hint of gentle joy. "Can everything be discussed?" Guo Feiyu nodded casually. "Then can we discuss not canceling the honeymoon?" Guo Feiyu looked at Liu Ruyan's serious expression, thinking she was about to make some kind of demand. But it turned out she brought up the honeymoon. This caught me a little by surprise. "Do you really want to go on a honeymoon?" Liu Ruyan looked at me quietly, her expression gentle and warm. "We've been busy with this wedding for so long, I want to rest for a while. Both of our parents also hope that we can get to know each other quickly. I think a honeymoon is a very good opportunity. What do you think?" Hearing her sincere tone, the excuses that Guo Feiyu had prepared got stuck in his throat. To be fair, Liu Ruyan was a very good wife. She always respected my opinions. For me, a honeymoon was something I could take or leave. I didn't want to upset her over such a small matter, so I agreed. After getting an affirmative answer, the smile on Liu Ruyan's face grew even brighter. "Then after you're done with this busy period, you'll arrange it when I have time." Li Shutting had waited downstairs at the Guo Corporation building for a whole day before she finally saw Guo Feiyu. She followed me to the restaurant and found a place to sit, wanting to find a chance to see me alone. But for the whole evening, I didn't leave my seat, happily talking and laughing with Liu Ruyan. The sight of us putting food on each other's plates stabbed her in the heart. The food on her table had been served for 2 hours, but she hadn't touched a single bite. Her eyes were always fixed on Guo Feiyu, on my smiling face. The spoon in her hand was bent out of shape. She finally waited until Guo Feiyu stood up to go to the restroom. Li Shuting hurriedly followed and called out to me in the hallway. Feiyu, why did you agree to marry Liu Ruyan? Hearing this familiar voice, Guo Feiyu turned around, a flash of surprise in his eyes. If I remember correctly, we've already broken up. Whether I get married or not, what does it have to do with you? This indifferent tone of mine made Li Shuting feel she was being looked down on, and a wave of anger surged within her. But the marriage between the Guo and Liu families was arranged more than a month ago. At that time, we hadn't broken up yet. I had already found someone else. Guo Feiyu crossed his arms and glanced at her, his tone still cold. It's true that a month ago, I had planned to return to Jingbei to get married. But what do you have to be angry about? You could plot for 7 years to break up with me on Luo Linyuan's 28th birthday. What's wrong with me planning my own escape route a month in advance? These few sentences left Li Shuting speechless. She clenched her fists, trying to swallow the surging unwillingness and regret in her chest. She still wanted to justify herself. My thing with him isn't what you think. I know he doesn't like me. It's just that we've known each other for so many years, and there was that promise. That's why it became an obsession in my heart. I once thought about being with you for good. On the way to Jingbei, I was also ready to propose to you. I had even picked out the wedding rings. Feiyu, can you just trust me this one time? Watching her say these words with a deeply affectionate expression, filled with emotion, Guo Feiyu only found it laughable. It was only after he thoroughly rejected you that you remembered me, your spare tire, right? Too bad, I'm already married. Li Shuting, you should still take your rings and go propose to Luo Linyuan. Who knows, he might even say yes. My tone didn't hide the mockery at all, which made it even more painful for Li Shuting to hear. She took a step forward, wanting to grab my hand, but I dodged her. He never liked me. I was foolish before, I didn't see him for who he was. It wasn't until after that birthday party that I finally understood. For the past 7 years, I've gotten used to having you by my side. I really want to marry you. At first, Guo Feiyu felt that although she was two-timing, she still had a bit of sincerity. But now, after hearing what she said, I felt a little nauseous. You hate him for not accepting you, hate him for treating you as a backup. Do you feel that after waiting for over 10 years, your sincere love for him is witnessed by heaven and earth to the point where you've almost moved yourself to tears? So, while you hate him, have you ever thought that you and Luo Linyuan are essentially the same? He doesn't agree to be with you, but keeps you hanging, leaving you resentful. And then you keep me hanging. The two of you are just 2 peas in a pod. Why bother putting on this act of having misjudged someone and regretting it too late in front of me? In an instant, Li Shuting's face turned pale. Guo Feiyu couldn't be bothered with her and turned to walk back to the main hall. As they passed each other, Li Shuting couldn't hold back anymore and grabbed me. My patience had run out. I flung her hand away. During their struggle, the old chandelier above them made a creaking sound and fell straight towards Guo Feiyu. In that split second, Li Shuting instinctively pushed me aside. With a loud crash, the iron chandelier weighing dozens of kilograms hit her shoulder. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. Guo Feiyu was pushed several meters away, bumping into Liu Ruyan, who had just rushed over. I couldn't help but turn my head back. I saw Li Shuting lying in a pool of blood. She curled up in pain, her left hand clutching her right shoulder. Fresh blood flowed ceaselessly. Her entire face was flushed with pain, and the veins on her forehead bulged. The waiters ran over when they heard the noise and went to check on Li Shuting's injuries. Liu Ruyan also frowned and asked if I was hurt. After confirming I was unharmed, she breathed a sigh of relief and helped me leave. Guo Feiyu was still in shock and didn't think much of it, so he leaned on her as they went downstairs together. Watching their departing figures, Li Shuting, lying on the ground, bit her lip hard, but still couldn't hold back a sob. She closed her eyes in despair, memories of Guo Feiyu flashing through her mind. When she had a stomachache, I wouldn't leave her side for a second, contacting doctors everywhere, always concerned about her condition. When she bumped into a wall and bruised her hand, I would immediately boil an egg and gently roll it on her bruise, my eyes filled with pity. When she couldn't sleep at night, I would fight off sleepiness to listen to soft music with her, and even cook soup to help her sleep. Before, as long as it concerned her, I would pay utmost attention. Now, she was so badly injured from saving me, yet I had no reaction, and just walked away with someone else. It wasn't until this moment that Li Shuting finally understood that the Guo Feiyu of today was no longer the person she used to know. I no longer saw her as my one and only, and I no longer loved her. Back home, Guo Feiyu's mood gradually calmed down. I lay on the sofa, drinking hot tea, recalling the scene from just now, still feeling terrified. I was about to complain a little to Liu Ruyan when I saw her squatting down with a first aid kit. I looked all over myself and found no injuries. I was even more confused by her actions. I'm not hurt. What are you getting the first aid kit for? Liu Ruyan didn't answer, gently pointing to my ankle. Guo Feiyu followed her gaze, and only then did he notice that his heel had been scratched by a small piece of glass. She took a cotton swab dipped in alcohol, her tone gentle. This might sting a little. This small wound was something Guo Feiyu normally wouldn't even notice. Seeing her so concerned, I felt a bit embarrassed. It's a small wound, it'll be fine even without treatment. Don't worry too much. That's what I said, but the moment the alcohol touched the wound, I still sucked in a cold breath. After disinfecting it, Liu Ruyan applied a bandage and instructed, "He'll have someone bring over some waterproof supplies. Remember to use them when you shower these next 2 days. Be careful not to get the wound wet. Wear slippers when you go out." Guo Feiyu left home at a young age, growing up by his aunt's side. After returning to the country, he spent 4 years of university alone and 6 years in a relationship. This was the first time someone had made such a fuss over a small wound of mine. Besides being surprised, I wanted to lighten the mood, so I made a joke. No need for all that trouble. By the time the supplies arrived, the wound might have already healed. Liu Ruyan looked up, looking at me seriously. "You were hurt today because of me. It's hard for me to shirk my responsibility. Any wound will hurt. I don't want you to be unwell physically after such a scare, so that's why I'm nagging a little. It's not wrong to be a little more careful. Just listen to me this once." Feiyu, perhaps it was because of her sincerity or the self-blame in her eyes that Guo Feiyu's heartstrings were plucked. He couldn't calm down for a long time. I didn't dare to look her straight in the eye. I lowered my gaze and nodded slightly. After Liu Ruyan left with the first aid kit, Guo Feiyu received a call from Lin Leiyu. "Guo Feiyu, are you really that heartless? Shutting was so badly injured saving you, and you won't even visit her once?" Hearing this baseless accusation, Guo Feiyu let out a cold laugh. If she hadn't been pestering me, the chandelier wouldn't have fallen on me in the first place. She brought her injuries upon herself. How can you blame me? No matter what. After all, she pushed me away at the critical moment. Am I really showing no regard for our past? Guo Feiyu admired her ability to twist right and wrong. Too lazy to waste words. He glanced at the bandage on his leg and lied. "I wanted to visit her too, but my leg is injured. I can't go out." There was silence on the phone for more than 10 seconds. Lin Yuyu cleared her throat. "If you can't come, then forget it. But a debt of gratitude must always be repaid. In a month, it's the launch dinner for the Yundao project. I had my secretary send a few invitations over. Consider the debt settled." Guo Feiyu couldn't help but chuckle twice. He casually agreed. After hanging up, I sent a message to my aunt to ask about the project situation, asking her to send the invitations tomorrow. For the next few days, wherever Guo Feiyu went, Liu Ruyan followed. At first, I advised her to go do her own thing, but she shut me down by mentioning our honeymoon leave. Gradually, I found that having her by my side was very helpful, and I grew accustomed to her presence. When I worked overtime late at night, Liu Ruyan would sit beside me with her laptop and go home with me. No matter the weather, she would always pick me up and drop me off on time. If she had to go out for something, she would report it immediately. During our breaks, she would go on dates with me, taking me to see new and interesting things. Half a month later, during the Lunar New Year, our two families gathered for New Year's Eve dinner. More than 10 people chatted lively. The topic revolved around the young couple. Mother Guo looked at the two of them and sighed with emotion. Feiyu's stubborn personality is just like his aunt's. After graduation, I told him to come back to Jingbei, but he refused. He insisted on making it on his own. Sigh, I don't know what to do with him. Ruyan, if he does anything wrong, please be patient with him. Guo Feiyu was about to explain when Liu Ruyan placed a peeled tangerine in my hand. She smiled and said, "Mother, you're exaggerating. Feiyu is very independent, and he has his own opinions. In the future, he will surely be able to shoulder the responsibilities of the Guo family. I still have much to learn from him. I can't hold him back." The Liu family also chimed in with praise. Mother Guo was smiling from ear to ear. She held Guo Feiyu's hand. "As long as you two get along, we are happy. If you can give us a grandchild soon, we'll be even happier." Guo Feiyu was so startled he dropped the tangerine. The elders also joined in the teasing. My face immediately turned beet red. Liu Ruyan noticed the change in my expression. She found an excuse to take me out to the garden. As the cold wind blew past, the color in my face gradually returned to normal. But I was still a little flustered. My eyes darted around, not daring to look at the person beside me. Liu Ruyan chuckled lightly. She changed the subject. "About the dinner party tomorrow, should I go?" Of course, I was the one who sent Li Shuting's invitation. I have to keep an eye on her to see what her purpose is. "Are there any spare invitations? Give one to me." Guo Feiyu looked at her in surprise. "This project is quite good, but aren't you and your eldest sister busy with the Yuan Chuan side? At such a critical time, you're coming here to scout for information?" Liu Ruyan knew I was joking. She quickly blinked a few times. Of course, she wasn't interested in the project. It was just that she had nothing to do during the new year. She wanted to go with me. Guo Feiyu understood and nodded. Thinking that he only had one invitation left in his hand, he pulled her downstairs to find his aunt. The Yundao project dinner was held at the largest hotel in Jingbei. At 7 p.m., the person in charge of the project went on stage to announce the start of the party. The Guo family's car got stuck in traffic. Arriving half an hour late, as soon as the door opened, Guo Jiao was surrounded by people waiting at the entrance. Guo Feiyu didn't want to get involved in this mess. He took Liu Ruyan's arm and avoided the crowd to enter. The two of them weren't there for the project anyway, so they strolled leisurely through the grand hall, enjoying the fine food and wine. Li Shuding stood on the second floor, holding a glass of champagne and leaning against the railing. With just one glance, she saw Guo Feiyu whispering into Liu Ruyan's ear. For the past month, she had been thinking a lot. Guo Feiyu had given up on her. He was a member of the Guo family, and he had married Liu Ruyan. Neither family was someone she could afford to offend, so she always told herself to let go, to accept reality. But seeing their intimate appearance, she still couldn't suppress the anger in her heart. Her expression immediately darkened. Luo Linyuan beside her followed, her gaze, and after seeing Guo Feiyu, his eyes lit up. He pulled Xu Xiling downstairs. Seeing this, Lin Yueyu also pulled Li Shuding along. The four of them made their way through the crowd to Guo Feiyu. Only Xu Xiling knew Liu Ruyan, so she was the first to greet her. "Third miss, long time no see. I heard you just got married a few days ago. Congratulations on your marriage." Although Liu Ruyan disliked the two, Li and Lin, in a place like this, she still maintained her composure, nodding slightly in thanks. As soon as she finished speaking, the atmosphere turned cold again. Xu Xiling didn't feel it was right to say more, so she gave Luo Linyuan a look. He quickly stepped forward and waved at Guo Feiyu. "Brother Feiyu, do you remember me? We met once over 2 months ago." Faced with his enthusiasm, Guo Feiyu responded with a faint smile. "Mr. Luo, long time no see." Hearing my voice, Li Shuding finally looked up, just in time to catch my cold gaze sweeping over her. She forced a smile, her voice low and hoarse. "Feiyu, long time no see. I heard you were injured that day. Are you better now?" "Thanks to you, I've recovered very well." My sarcastic tone made Li Shuding's heart tremble. A look of guilt appeared on her face. She wanted to explain, but before she could speak, she was interrupted by Liu Ruyan. "Feiyu and I came with his aunt to the dinner party. I didn't expect to see Xiling here. During the new year, you all flew all the way to Jingbei. Is there something going on?" Hearing this, Lin Yue quickly nudged Xu Xiling's arms, signaling her to seize the opportunity. "Our families are also a bit interested in the Yundao project, so we thought we'd come and take a look. I heard that Feiyu's aunt is in charge of this project. I was wondering, Ruyan, if you could, for old time's sake, help us with an introduction?" Liu Ruyan didn't answer right away. Instead, she lowered her head to glance at Guo Feiyu, as if asking for my opinion. After the two exchanged a look, Guo Feiyu finally spoke slowly. "Ruyan and I would like to help, but as you can see, my aunt is incredibly busy right now. I'm afraid it's not a good time." The three of them looked at each other, understanding the rejection in his words. Not wanting to offend them, they exchanged a few pleasantries and then excused themselves. Only Li Shuding remained in place, staring at Guo Feiyu, wanting to speak but hesitating. Guo Feiyu didn't want to pay her any mind and pulled Liu Ruyan away. But she, as if possessed, followed behind the two of them. From the grand hall to the second floor and then followed them out to the garden. Seeing that no one was around, Liu Ruyan finally stopped and turned around, looking coldly at Li Shuding. "Miss Lai, you keep following my husband and me. Is there something you want to say?" Only then did Li Shuding realize her inappropriate behavior. She hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry, I drank too much. I was a bit muddled and lost my way." Hearing this clumsy excuse, Liu Ruyan let out a few soft laughs, but her tone was incredibly cold. The threat, both spoken and unspoken, made Li Shuding's heart instantly drop into an abyss. She was well aware of the Liu family's capabilities. Liu Ruyan only needed to say a few casual words, and the Lai family might just disappear from Shanghai. Li Shuding didn't dare to bet her family's fate against her, so she could only grit her teeth and swallow this insult. She turned back to the grand hall, and before she even entered, a commotion reached her ears. Lin Yueyu's voice was particularly clear. "Director Guo, your nephew has some connection with us. Even if you don't give us face, you should give him some. Can't you even drink a toast with us?" The moment Li Shuding heard this, she knew something was wrong. She rushed in. Just as she pushed through the crowd into the main hall, before she could even say Director Guo, "I'm sorry," she saw Guo Jiao on the phone, calling security. In an instant, the entire hall fell silent. The other guests looked on with schadenfreude, watching the four people whose faces had turned pale. The offended Guo Jiao, her face as cold as ice, announced loudly in front of everyone without any reservation. "Today is the launch dinner for the Yundao project. This is not a place for backdoor deals. Since you have all received invitations, please listen seriously to the press conference that is about to begin. Don't follow the crooked path of these people. Otherwise, if you get thrown out of the party, don't say that I, Guo Jiao, showed you no respect." As more than a dozen security guards escorted the four away, Guo Feiyu happened to return with Liu Ruyan. The couple stopped at the entrance and watched for a long while. They glanced at each other and saw the smile in each other's eyes. The host's voice came from the grand hall. "It seems the project meeting is about to start." The troublemakers had been kicked out. Guo Feiyu didn't want to stay either, so he pulled Liu Ruyan and said he wanted to go home. Liu Ruyan listened to me in everything. After sending a text message to Guo Jiao, she drove away. For the past few days, the couple had been staying at the old house. The housekeepers had also gone home for the new year, making it seem empty. The two of them curled up on the sofa to watch a movie. Around midnight, Guo Feiyu suddenly craved sweet rice balls. It was a holiday and late at night, so the nearby shops and delivery services were all closed. I looked at the undeliverable message on my phone and sighed. Seeing my disappointed expression, a gentle smile appeared on Liu Ruyan's face. She stood up and went into the kitchen, pulling a bag of flour from the cabinet. Guo Feiyu leaned in curiously, his eyes filled with pleasant surprise. You know how to make sweet rice balls too? Liu Ruyan saw me playing with the flour, knew that I wanted to try as well, so she took out 2 aprons and put one on me. If we don't know how, we can just look up a tutorial. It should be simple. Guo Feiyu thought she made sense and quickly opened his phone. The two of them followed the tutorial for over an hour and managed to reluctantly form a few unevenly sized balls with strange shapes. After the water boiled, Guo Feiyu wanted to put the rice balls in. Liu Ruyan, afraid I would get burned, quickly took the plate and told me to get 2 bowls. There was no fermented rice wine in the house, so she added some brown sugar for flavor. By the time the 2 bowls of sweet rice balls were served, it was past midnight. Guo Feiyu used a spoon to scoop up the biggest rice ball in the bowl, showing it off to her. I have the biggest one here. Looks like you'll be lucky this year. Liu Ruyan smiled as she looked at me and used a fan to help me cool down the rice ball. I took a bite. The smug look on my face froze for a few seconds and then returned to normal. Liu Ruyan asked with a smile, Isn't it good? Guo Feiyu's eyes darted around, and he nodded his head repeatedly. Then he held the spoon in front of her, coaxing, It's delicious. Do you want to try? Liu Ruyan knew with a single glance that the rice ball I made wasn't cooked, but she didn't hesitate, and she lowered her head to eat the remaining half. Seeing her fall into the trap, Guo Feiyu couldn't help but let a mischievous smile creep onto his lips. He quickly raised his hand to cover his face. Is it good? My voice was full of glee, but Liu Ruyan revealed a surprised expression and gave a thumbs up. Delicious, it's sweet, chewy, and perfectly suits my taste. As she said these words, her eyes lit up, making Guo Feiyu unable to tell if she was telling the truth or not. But I still trusted my own sense of taste, so I put down the spoon and sat on her lap. One hand lifted her chin, prying her mouth open. Liu Ruyan directly swallowed what was in her mouth, so by the time I managed to pry her mouth open, there was nothing to see. My face immediately showed disappointment. Realizing I was the one who had been played, Guo Feiyu felt unwilling to accept it and chased after Liu Ruyan, intending to tickle her. Liu Ruyan laughed and dodged, but I wouldn't let her go. The two of them played around, rolling from the sofa onto the rug. Face to face, the tips of our noses touching, the atmosphere immediately became intimate. Mere inches apart, Guo Feiyu could even hear the sound of Liu Ruyan's heartbeat from her chest. My face flushed red again. Reason told me I should let her go, but my body didn't want to let go. As time passed, the breathing became heavier, and the heat of their skin rose. Liu Ruyan, from within, Guo Feiyu's pupils, saw her own reflection, couldn't resist reaching out to touch my eyelashes, then closed her eyes. Guo Feiyu leaned down and whispered softly in her ear. Liu Ruyan's heart skipped a beat. Her whole body felt like it was on fire, and she nodded gently. In the next second, the world turned upside down. She was swept into Guo Feiyu's arms. Lips and teeth met, their breaths mingling as one, and the night was still very long.